Tom, please open the meeting.
Pursuant to the provisions of Chapter 231 of the laws of 1976, known as the Open Public Meetings Act, we have all notified the public that notice of the date, time, location, and the agenda of this meeting, to the extent known, was provided at least 48 hours prior to the commencement of this meeting in the following manner. Number one, by posting such notice on the public announcement board of the Lakewood Board of Education offices and the Lakewood Township Municipal Building. Number two, by mailing such notice to the office of the Asbury Park Press. Number three, by filing such notice with the board secretary. And number four, by mailing such notice to all individuals who requested and paid for a copy of the same. Roll call, Mr. Friedman.
Here.
Mr. Greenspan.
Here.
Mr. Jackowitz.
Here.
Mr. Munn.
Here.
Mr. Rosenblatt.
Here.
Mr. Schwartz.
Here.
Mr. Silver.
Here.
Mr. Tiff.
Here.
Mr. Zlotkin.
Here.
That's one.
Presentations.
Okay, tonight we're going to start our evening off with two very special presentations. I'm going to ask the high school principal, Mrs. Marcy Paterzo, to join us up front. Before we get started, Mrs. Zlotkin requested the principals of all of the schools to present their high school, their New Jersey-esque and HESPA data. So Ms. Paterzo is starting off with her HESPA data.
Good evening, everybody. So when we talk about the HESPA, we're going to look over the past 2 years. The juniors at Lakewood High School just recently took the March administration of the HESPA, which was the first week in March. We won't have those results back until May. However, I want to talk a little bit about last year and 2012 results for math and language arts. So if you look at the math, for total students, we did have growth over the past 2 years. We're on a steady but slow increase, which is, all we can ask for right now. We're hoping that this year we can come back in May or June and present the data for our May results, which after my presentation, I hope you all see we all have high hopes that our scores are going to rise above this. So there was a steady growth, total of about 7% growth over 2 years. And then you can see it's broken down by each subgroup. So we have it broken down by general ed, special ed, which had a very large increase from 2012 to 2013. And then our LEP students, which is one area that we need to focus on. Again, this is just for math, and it's all first-time juniors that take the test, and then any seniors that do not pass it their junior year, they have the opportunity to take it in October of their senior year and again in March. Language arts, again, a very slight but steady growth from 2012 to 13. We have about a 1.6% growth over the past 2 years. And then you can see it's broken down by general ed, special ed, and LEP. Again, we had an increase for our LEP students in language arts, which is, I think, something that we really have to focus on, because this is an area that if our students are limited in English but they're doing well in language arts, that means there's no reason why they can't increase in math as well. So overall, our weak area is math. And that's throughout the state. However, we really have struggled in math in the high school. So I want to talk about a couple things that are new to the high school this year in terms of math. So for the first time, we have an 11th grade HESPA prep class. It's designed just for 11th graders. We have one teacher teaching all of the sections, so it's a very small group. So those students all take Algebra 2 in their junior year. But these students, we identified 70 students that in addition to their Algebra 2, they also have this HESPA prep class. So the classes are no more than 10 to 12 students, and they get strict instruction that is geared towards the math, the HESPA prep. I worked along with our supervisor of math in the summer to create this class, so we're hoping that we see, really good results since it's the first time it's ever been implemented in the school. We also have a lot of areas that we had to focus on that are not so instructional. We have a huge attendance problem at the high school. Students were coming to school every day, but they were not in the classroom. So before you even start to put in interventions and try to do anything like that, the students actually have to be in their seats to learn. So we had a lot of incentives, a lot of motivational things that we really focused on to try to change the climate and culture of the building. One other thing that we've done is we've implemented through our RAC program, which is Title I funds through the state. We focused a large part of our funding on climate and culture of the building. So this has been a very positive effect, I feel, and students are, working and see the value of being in the classroom. And obviously, again, I can't stress this enough, if you're not in the classroom, your test scores, will not go up. It's just common sense. And basically, that is it. So our big question, we hope to come back and share some positive results with you at the May or June board meeting, because I really do feel that we're going to see a rise in those test scores. So thank you.
Any questions from the board?
Thank you, Mr. Paterno. Our next presentation is from the middle school principal, Mr. Fassler.
Good evening, everybody. I'm also going to be presenting our statewide testing data for the middle school, just as Ms. Paterno did for the high school. The first thing that I want to start with that I think is very, very important when we look at, before we start to look at the data, is the mission statement of the Lakewood Middle School. And as the Lakewood Middle School will improve each student's proficiency in language arts and mathematics. This will be accomplished through the use of rigorous and relevant curriculum, the analysis of student learning data, professional development, and an effective implementation of the Common Core standards. And the reason I start with that because that's how each one of our teachers live each day, and I think it's important that we look at that. And as we move forward with a lot of the information that's coming from the Department of Ed, the big focus is going to be on the improvement of students' test scores. So not necessarily proficiency levels, as they're very important to us at the school level, but also our students growing, our students becoming better academically and also socially. So I wanted to bring that up. When we look at the New Jersey Ask data over the course of the past 4 years, we are consistently at the 40 to 35% proficiency range in both language arts and in mathematics for both 7th and 8th grade. You can see that this past year, we went from 37% proficiency in language arts for both 7th and 8th grade to 34% proficiency, so a 3% decrease. However, in mathematics, we did have a 3% increase from 31% proficiency to 34% proficiency. So obviously, as we move forward in looking at this information, our teachers are looking at it, and we're trying to improve each and every day to increase proficiency levels. As Ms. Paterno said, we need to get better. When we look at, when we look at a lot of our information, we could see some trends. So when I look at this data, the first thing that comes to mind is 7th grade is struggling far below the standard than 8th grade is. 8th grade is at nearly 50% proficiency in language arts, and our 7th grade proficiency levels are much, much lower, consistently around 25% proficiency. So the one thing that we've been looking at as an administrative group and as a staff is how can we better transition 7th graders into the middle school? Because that is a consistent trend year after year after year. And we've initiated a lot of programs in doing that, however, we haven't had success. But the one thing that we often hang our hat on is a lot of these groups that are at 25% proficiency, by the time that they leave us, they're at the 50% proficiency range in language arts. So that's something that we tend to build on. But we do have a 7th grade problem, and we've been trying to address that in my administration. Again, when we look at mathematics data, similar trends. The 7th grade is underperforming the 8th grade, consistently at the 27 to 32% proficiency range. And also, in 8th grade, we're not getting as big of a jump in 8th grade as we are in language arts. And Ms. Paterzo was speaking to that. it's really a trend in a lot of districts. As the students get older, they see their proficiency levels in mathematics decrease a bit, and in language arts they tend to go up. So that's something that we're trying to work on with a number of different programs. So when we look at this data, we obviously know that we have to improve. So how are we improving? And when I think about the big picture as the principal of the building, there's five things that I think are really driving what we're doing this school year. Our school improvement plan, we are a focused school, deemed by the Department of Education, so that plan has been created by administration and staff members, and we're implementing various things to improve instruction and to improve student engagement. We consistently use data to drive instruction. One of the big pieces that we're trying to do is have our teachers look at what students know and what they don't know, and use that information to teach and to move forward. Walkthroughs and evaluations, administrators continually going into classrooms, providing teachers with feedback on how their students are performing and also how they can get better as an educator. All of our teachers this school year throughout the entire state have created student growth objectives, which means that every teacher is creating a goal for their students to reach. So I think that's a very, very important component because our teachers are creating goals and they have to meet those goals. And then our PBSIS initiative, Positive Behavior Supports in Schools. Ms. Materzo spoke a lot about the climate and the culture of the building. That's something at the middle school that we're trying to work on as well and focus in on the positives. Again, one of the major things that the school improvement plan has done for the middle school that was not there 3 to 4 years ago is it's brought in a number of technology components into the classrooms. And if we know anything about our children, when they get those devices in their hands, magic starts to happen. So if we can embed those into our instruction, it's going to put us into a better place. So all of our classrooms are now equipped with smart boards. All staff are equipped with iPads. We have 10 iPad cards throughout the entire building that's being infused into instruction each and every day. And we have 1 MacBook Air card that we're using on a regular basis, and more is coming in. And we also have a number of software components that are trying to address some of the needs of the Common Core. As we're moving and shifting to the Common Core, there are many, many more demands, and we're using these programs to build on that. Throughout also with the school improvement plan is professional development. Our teachers are becoming SIAC trained, which has to do with meeting students' needs that are ELL and English language learners. Technology, professional development, classroom management. We've brought in after-school programs so our students in our lowest subgroups are able to stay after school and get some extra help outside of the school day. And our summer transition programs that I spoke to you earlier about that we're doing with a lot of our 7th graders. Data analysis, as I mentioned, just to get into more detail, our teachers are looking at data every single day and making strategic decisions about their instruction with their particular students. And it is my belief that those things will drive our students further. Daily walkthroughs, I wanted to bring this point out that in 2011 and 2012, we were only mandated by the state to conduct 1 evaluation of tenure staff and 3 evaluations of non-tenure. However, this school year, we have to conduct 3 evaluations of tenure and non-tenure staff. So there are many, many more evaluations, and our teachers are getting much, much more feedback with walkthroughs and evaluations. Student growth objectives, just to go in a little bit more detail, every one of our staff members have worked with the principal to create student growth objectives. So we're looking to make certain that our students are growing, and teachers have a specific goal to work to. And I think the most important part of that is we're accountable for each student's growth. So the teachers are being evaluated on how far the students are growing, and that's a part of their grade at the end of the year, and I think that's very, very important. And then PBSIS, our positive behavior supports in school, affecting the overall climate of the building. Our motto is, that's a wrap, and that's to be respectful, accountable, and punctual. So all of our students that are being respectful, accountable, and punctual continually receive positive behavior tickets, and through those tickets, they get various awards throughout the school year. So basically the premise is that if you're doing the right thing, you're going to get rewarded for the right thing. I think far too often we focus in on a lot of the students that maybe not doing the right thing, we forget about the students that are. So each one of our students that are being respectful, accountable, and punctual, they get a ticket. And it's all committee driven by our staff. So, those are the major components in implementation. about strategies that we've put in place to improve scores. And just as Ms. Paterzo mentioned, I'm hoping that we can come back here next year and talk about the growth that we made.
Any questions from the board? Anyone? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before we move on, I would like to ask Joanna Sidorioso to speak.
Good evening, everyone. I see so many familiar faces. I love it. I love seeing us all support one another, and being here just shows how much Lakewood is actually coming together. Let's see. As Ms. Paterzo said and mentioned before, HESPO throughout the years has been improving. HESPO was a success for our juniors. They really pulled through. Out of 340 students, only 3, which is a little bit, did not show up and take it, which is still really good. First off, I want to congratulate all the teachers of the year. I'm sorry if I say your last names wrong. I have Ms. Lipton, Ms. Finn, Ms. Cass, Ms. Howard Patterson, Ms. Sylvester, Ms. Beltran, and Mr. Walter. You all perfect. Without you, we're nothing. I'm not bashing, but really. Let's see. We currently hold 38 clubs here in Lakewood High School. And so many of our students are participating. However, there is not a lot of late buses. And I would ask my friends, I would be like, are you staying after school today? They'll be, no. I'm like, why? They'll go, oh, I'm not taking the bus. I have asked many of the students, and I see it. There's not enough seats on the buses. I know we get this complaint all the time, but I have honestly seen and witnessed students get kicked out of the bus for not having enough seats. And this honestly prevents our students from staying after school and doing curricular activities. Don't we all want our students to be in school and out of the dangers of Lakewood? So why can't we have more buses? Please keep that into consideration, because that would really help us along the way.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Anyway, so spring sports has recently started. April 1st is their first game, am I right? First? Okay, so come and support us. We have outdoor track, we have baseball, softball, tennis, and that's it, right? So come support us. April 1st is the first games of the season. We also have a college acceptance board near the main office. Many of our seniors are getting accepted to all these colleges. I personally have got accepted to Rutgers. My preschool
Congratulations.
Thank you. We recently had this competition, Top Chef. Did you hear about it? We actually raised a lot of money for our culinary scholarship, and we're hoping to make this an annual event sponsored with Sodexo. So, thank you. Do you have any questions for me?
I'd like you to repeat again what the issue with children eligible for busing not being able to get on their bus. And can you ask our transportation?
Okay.
Gus, please address the question now.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's only 4 buses out there. Am I right or wrong? There's 5 buses. For 145 bus, there are over 20 buses all over Lakewood. So there's 4 buses driving all of us home in different parts of Lakewood. And there's only how many seats? 54. And there's so many other students out there. There's about 100 to like 150. I'm lying, but I'm over exaggerating. But there's about that much students staying after school. And some students can't stay after school because they have no transportation home because they will get kicked out of the 3 o'clock bus. They can't have an overcapacity on the bus. So that honestly prevents us from staying after.
Are you saying that the buses there are more children supposed to be on the bus than 54?
No, I'm saying
It's a legal bus.
it's the 3 o'clock bus, our legal bus. And our buses with the middle schoolers, so we're combining buses with them.
But the late run buses are activity buses that the administration of the high school and the middle school have given us a projection of the average riding that we're going to have on those buses, and that's where we came up with the 4 buses. If the average ridership has gone up, and we have a fair chance at loading more than 4 buses, we will certainly spend the money on adding additional buses. The problem comes in, Mr. President. Mr. President, the problem comes in is that if you don't base the normal amount of buses on an average projection, you will have many days where buses will leave the school half empty or more empty than that. So you want to try to do it on a basis of what is your average load count and what you can expect. Now, the schools also know, Ms. Paterzo and Mr. Fosnock can talk about the fact that if they have a particular after-school activity that they feel is going to impact the amount of students that will be utilizing the late buses, they can call our office and they can arrange to have extra buses added to the roster. And we have done that frequently, adding 1 or 2 extra buses, so that if there are extra children, we can alleviate the overloads and have the children brought to their homes.
So in the past, if there was request for more buses, those requests were granted. Is that correct?
I'm
So
sorry.
in the past, when there were requests for more buses, because of the demand, the requests were granted.
Yes, if there was a forecast that they knew it ahead of time, we would have it prearranged. There have been many times when, for whatever reason, they had a bigger turnout than they thought, and we would get a call from the school and say, we don't have enough room on the bus, can you send an extra bus? Now, it does delay, there's a 10 or 15 minute lag time to get a bus over the last minute call, but we do send one over. And again, I am sure that Mr. Bosnott and Mr. Terzo can talk about that and talk about that procedure. But if we know it's going to be a steady problem, where there's going to be a steady overload, there's an obvious need to add permanent additional late buses, and we will certainly do that. Ms. Winters has never refused to address that issue when I brought it to her.
Thank you so much.
Joanne, your heartfelt presentation has inspired 2 members of the audience, Mr. Sanders and Mr. Notice, to donate $200 towards next year's Top Chef competition.
Thank you. Wait, I have something to add to that, Mr. Gus. Thank you, Mr. Gus. But, I'm sorry. Hold on. So last year, we had 2 separate buses for late buses. We had middle school and high school. We had no problem at all. And this year, in the past years, we've always had that problem. And it's not that they don't send an extra bus in. They'll make us wait till the next late bus, which is at 5 o'clock. So if it's from like 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, that's a huge time difference. Huge time difference. Keep that in mind. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I would like to ask all the principals to come up here to join me. The Lakewood School District is proud to announce its 2013-14 Teachers of the Year. Teachers of the Year must demonstrate strong ability to foster excellence in education and deliver content in a meaningful and engaging way. When I announce each school's Teacher of the Year, I'm going to ask each school principal to say a few words. The Lakewood Early Childhood Center Teacher of the Year is Mrs. Carrie Littman.
Is a natural teacher who combines talent and nurturance needed for the littlest pioneers. Mrs. Littman has a strong belief that all children can learn through dynamic and creative lessons addressing social, emotional, physical, and academic developments. Mrs. Littman's students reach their potential. Mrs. Lipman provides authentic and experiential learning activities. She respects, nurtures, and challenges her students to learn skills necessary for academic success and meaningful decisions throughout the day. She assures that her students' home language and culture are respected, appreciated, and incorporated into the classroom routines. It is an honor to present Teacher of the Year to Mrs. Lipman.
Congratulations, Mrs. Lemon. I'd like to invite Mr. Gray, principal of Fifth Avenue Grade School.
Good evening, everyone. It is my honor to introduce the Clifton Avenue Grade School Teacher of the Year, Ms. Cecilia Ding. Ms. Ding has been employed with the district since 2007. She has taught kindergarten as a general education teacher, first, second, and third grade as an inclusion teacher. She works wonders with all of our children that are set foot into her classroom. I am honored to have you as an employee, and we are honored to have you as a staff member of the Lakewood Public School.
Congratulations, Mrs. Ding. I would like to introduce Mrs. Ebony Baker, principal of the L.G. Clark School.
So as I thought about introducing my Teacher of the Year, Ms. Allison Siegel, who is a reading specialist, I thought it would be an honor if I wrote a poem, something befitting of her training. So, what a gift. Ms. Siegel is an educator who is such a gift to this profession. She pours her heart and soul into each and every lesson. To say that she is a champion educator is a bleak description of her dedication, because she works diligently to cultivate future leaders, because she knows that education has the power to change their station in life. Ms. Siegel has no magic wand or pixie dust to promote this type of growth that students experience in her class. It is her belief and her high expectations that are what accomplishes this task. Ms. Siegel is a specialist in reading, but heart and genuine love for children are her attributes that are leading. To the notable student achievement in her class, her students are committed, they are championed, they care, because they know they have something in Ms. Siegel that is rare. It is no illusion. Ms. Siegel is such a gift, and that is our collective conclusion. So we, the School of Champions, are honored to declare that Ms. Allison Siegel is our Teacher of the Year.
I would like to introduce Oak Street School's principal, Mr. Joseph Schroeder.
Good evening. It is my privilege this evening to recognize this teacher that's been an asset to the Lakewood School District and Oak Street School for the last 17 years. She's a Lakewood High School graduate. Absolutely. She has mentored over the years multiple new teachers, served as cooperating teacher for many student teachers over the years, has written social studies curriculum for the district, been on the social studies committee for Ocean County, has a great connection with her kids year in and year out, great connection with her colleagues, and again, is just a tremendous asset to the Oak Street faculty. It is my honor and privilege to recognize Ms. Jen Capper-Patterson as the Oak Street Teacher of the Year.
like to introduce Spruce Street School's principal, Mr. Kurt Resnick.
Good evening. As I was coming here, I thought about what I was going to say, and I don't have enough time because I could speak all night about this teacher. She's just a fabulous teacher. Not only is she great academic-wise, but her love for the kids goes beyond anything I have ever seen. Her students, she treats them as if they were her own children. And I think about my son growing up, and if I could pick any teacher, I would definitely have her as my son's teacher, hands down, without a doubt. And I'm honored and grateful that I have been given the opportunity to be this teacher's principal. Miss Lee Silvestri, congratulations.
I would like to introduce the Lakewood Middle School principal, Mr. Fassler.
It is my honor this evening to announce the Lakewood Middle School's Teacher of the Year. When I think about this teacher, her students absolutely love her. I keep asking her, what's her secret, as I see our students running down the hallway to her class and passing everybody else by. But when you walk into that classroom, you realize what her secret is. All of her students are engaged. She truly loves her students. Her students love her. She cares. She shows them they care. And she's ultra prepared every single day for instruction. I have her on many, many different committees. She's one of our science coordinators as well. So she's responsible for the entire science department. And she does an absolutely wonderful job. And that's Miss Kimberly Belcher.
Okay, I would like to introduce the Lakewood High School principal, Mrs. Paterza.
It is a great honor that I have the privilege of announcing Mr. Kevin Walters as the Lakewood High School Teacher of the Year. And I must point out the only man on the panel this year, so. Mr. Walters is one of the most dedicated people I have ever come in contact with. In addition to being a devoted husband and father of 3 small children, he truly gives so much of himself to the Lakewood High School community. He is our advanced placement and honors English teacher from 7 until 1:45, and then he teaches English to grades 9 through 12 in our Twilight program from 2 o'clock till 6:30. His style of teaching can be described as motivating, rigorous, challenging, and engaging. In fairness, I really can't do him justice, so I thought who better to do him justice than the students who are in there every day. We have a surprise for you. Your students would like to speak on your behalf.
Before we let the students speak, I would like to also add one extra thing. Each year, we choose a district teacher of the year. So I would like to just add one extra thing. So after we have all the teachers of the year, we have a committee that is formed. And the committee chooses where the teachers actually have to convince the committee why they deserve to be teacher of the year. So this year, before the students get to take the glory, I would like to tell you that the district teacher of the year was also Mr. Kevin Walters.
Congratulations, Mr. Walters, if we haven't said it enough. We just want to start off by saying that we thank you for your dedication to your students, especially us, your AP kids, because we know we can be a handful. We love how you make class enjoyable and entertaining, but at the same time keep it serious. You hit us with challenges that you know we can take, and you motivate us to be the best we can be. even if we don't think we can.
You're brutally honest, but that's not bad because it helps us learn from our mistakes.
Your personality makes hardships easier to cope with, and your jokes make our days, even the corny ones that make us roll.
You truly care about us, and class has always been a naturally comfortable place to open up. Like any other teacher, you have high yet realistic expectations of us, but you help us strive to reach beyond that.
We hope that we were as good of students as you were a teacher. Teacher of the Year is not big enough award for all you do.
Thank you for making our last year of high school the most memorable. If it was up to us, we'd call it teacher of our high school careers.
Again, I'd like to congratulate all of our teachers of the year. Thank you. Okay, this month's Superintendent Recognition Award goes to a student who is described as polite, respectful, determined, and energetic. This student is an honor roll student and attends the shared vocational program in design and visual communications. He is an active member of the junior ROTC program and has been all 4 years of high school. He is an ROTC 1 and 2 cadet, ROTC 3 color guard captain, and ROTC 4 executive officer. This student is currently on the chess club, rifle team, drill team, color guard, adventure team, and member of Skills Team USA. He is currently deciding on whether or not to attend college or military and police training. Please join me in congratulating Christopher Spokane.
Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations can't be enough for what this award has been given to me. So thank you, Board of Education Superintendent. Sergeant Major could not be here with us today, so I do want to give thanks to him, and my sister for actually giving me motivation for joining this program, and she's right over there with Jan Poker.
Okay, at this time, we would like to honor the Lakewood High School football team and the basketball team. So at this time, I would like Mr. Craddock, if he can come up here and join us. I am proud to introduce to you the 2013-14 Lakewood High School football teams. I would like to have head coach L.J. Clark join us, who already did join us. The assistant coaches Tim Brown, Kevin Freeman, Jamil Jackson, Bob King, Alan Mura, Luke Pecorelli, Steve Poppy, Joseph Saratelli, Rodney Sheridan, and Calvin Thompson. If any of those coaches are here, they can come up and join us as well. I would like to acknowledge their accomplishments. First, they had the first playoff win in 26 years. This was also the first team in Lakewood history to make the postseason in back-to-back years. Come on, that's great. The individual accomplishments were Amir Tyler made All-Conference B South, second team All-Shore, and second team All-Sports Network. We have Ben Watson, who made All-Conference B South. We have Mike Randolph, who made All-Conference B South as well. Maurice Diawara, who made All-Conference B South and third team All-Shore. Daytrell Reed, who made All-Conference B South, second team All-Shore, and third team All-Sports Network. Call your name up for your award. Okay, Deshaun Alexander. Deshaun Barnes Pickney. Michael Burney. Kmart Chambers. Come on, guys. Shelby Cobbs. Solomon Cobbs. Deshaun Conover. Chappelle Cook.
All right, let's do it.
Davon Delaney. Hassan Diawara. Hassan is here. I know Maurice Diawara is here. J. John Fisher. Aaron Francis. Joseph Fuller. Elijah Gill. Jacquel Hunter. Press, I am you. Naquish Joshua. Joseph Paredes. Ivan Marks. Darius Morrow. Hasim McGrady. Daniel Nyblack. Joshua Palmer. Marky Pixler. David Patterson. Michael Randolph. Detrell Reed. Eric Segee. Fajon Sutton. Anthony Terry. Ramel Toombs. Amir Tyler. Ben Watson. Javon Wright. Thank you guys, congratulations. Okay, now I'm going to introduce a lot of the same boys anyway, but now I'm proud to introduce to you the 2013-14 Lakewood High School basketball coaches. Head coach Randy Holmes, who I don't believe was able to make it tonight. Assistant coaches. Okay. Assistant coaches Tim Brown, L.J. Clark, Gene Drumright. I'm going to just read, before we introduce the boys, their accomplishments. They won the B South Conference for the 7th consecutive year in a row with a 14-0 record. They made a semifinal appearance in the prestigious Shore Conference tournament. They had a 22-5 overall record during a rebuilding season. And they had 3 all-conference players, Danny Nyblack, Ben Watson, and Maurice Diawara. Danny Nyblack was also selected to the second team All-Star. Before we announce the team, Mr. Drumright would like to speak on Mr. Holmes' behalf.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to make it nice and short and sweet. I want them to get important things to get to. Well, Mr. Holmes would like to thank some people that were very instrumental in the success of the basketball program, because it's a family affair. And first of all, I want to thank the Board of Education first, Mrs. Winters for the dying loyalty to the program, Mr. Crowder, the athletic director, Ms. Paterzo and her staff, Mr. Riley, Mr. Horowitz, Mr. Goldstein, Mr. Finklin for numerous hard work that they do, keeping us in line and stuff like that, because it's a major job. And the guidance department, he made it quite clear, he wanted to thank the guidance department through the fact that we have 2 Division I players this year, and that's a nice achievement, based on the fact that you have to have a nice academic standing as well as an athletic ability to qualify for a Division I scholarship. So again, we're really very grateful to the Board of Education and Mr. Kradish for their dying support to the Lakewood basketball program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Dormick. And now we'd like to have the boys come up. Sean Barkstead. Hassan Diawara. Maurice Diawara. Ryan Morris. Dejan Sutton. Amir Tyler. Dan Watson. Congratulations, guys. Thank you. Before we move on with the meeting, I'd just like to invite everyone to a special bullying program next Saturday, March 23rd at the Lakewood Middle School on 7th Street at 2:30 p.m. I apologize, Sunday, March 23rd at 2:30 p.m.